Am I audible? All right. So now let's proceed to our discussion on ethics and issues in psychological assessment. Yes, John? So again, it is important to understand the difference between ethics, morals, and laws. So pag sinabi nating ethics, ito yung base sa ating profession. So yung mga leaders within our profession, sila yung gumagawa nito. And at the same time, tayo as professionals under them, nagkakasundo-sundo tayo sa ating mga course of action. In case na meron tayong kaharaping dilemmas. Tapos ang morals, it's more on the judgment or evaluation. And lastly, laws, ito yung mga sinusundan natin in order to ensure orderliness. So here are the benefits of ethical codes. So unang-una is yung protection of the profession from the government. So kahit paano, there is a degree of being autonomous. Next, it helps control for disagreement, no? So it helps to allow for stability in our profession. So may disagreement pero may order within our profession regarding the proper course of action in every dilemma na pwede nating kaharapin. And we must act on it in a consistent manner. And lastly, it protects practitioners from the public. So dito pumapasok yung legit tayo na profession. Hindi tayo basta-basta. And that's the way for us to gain the trust of the public. And also, it is aimed at protecting ourselves as well, no? Now, that once we are practicing, mapoprotektahan tayo against malpractice lawsuits. So here are the principles na nakasulat sa ating Code of Ethics. So number 1, respect for the dignity of persons and peoples. So this is the basic foundation of the many ethical principles. So dapat respetuhin natin ang dignidad ng bawat isa. Principle number 2 is competent caring for the well-being of persons and peoples. So dapat magkakaroon tayo ng risk and benefit analysis. So dapat ma-maximize natin yung benefits, bakit sila nagpapa-assessment, and at the same time, mabawasan natin or we minimize yung risk of harm. Third, integrity. So as much as possible, honest tayo sa kung sino man ating pakikitunguhan. Kung may conflict of interest man, sabihin natin para at least maiwasan. Next is the professional and scientific responsibilities to society. So hindi lang within ourselves but also paglingkuran din natin or bigyan din natin ng potential benefits yung pamilya, groups, community, and even the society at large. So here are the different issues na kinakaharap ng ating profession ngayon, no? So una, theoretical concerns. So as we all know, kung ano yung minemeasure at a given moment, pwedeng magbago yan in the future. So again, the stability is only temporal, okay, or a matter of time. Second is the adequacy of tests. So again, responsibility nyo in the future that once you become registered psychometricians, you should actually select tests or even a battery of tests, mga collection ng tests, no? So consider their reliability, validity, cross-cultural fairness, and practicality in order to answer a referral question. So ito yung nakasaad sa ating Code of Ethics. So dapat talaga maigi ang pagpili natin sa mga tests na ating gagamitin. So iwasan din natin ang paggamit ng mga tests na luma na. Okay? So it is actually prescribed, no? Na kapag may bagong test na na-develop or yung latest edition ay na-develop, dapat within 2 years nakapag-transition na tayo dun sa bagong test na yon. Okay? Take note of that. Within 2 years since the publication of the revised version of a test. Also, we do not provide interpretations, conclusions, and recommendations on the basis of obsolete tests. So, nawawalan na ng silbi or value yung mga test na sobrang luma na. So we can also be challenged then with either actuarial or clinical prediction. So sa actuarial prediction, dito yung gumagamit ng mga regression equations. Ayan. Tapos dito pwedeng ma-predict yung risk of harm. Pero yung clinical prediction naman is more on our personal judgment. No? So again, as clinicians, no, it is actually our own responsibility to analyze everything. So it is your job to see the bigger picture and even assess the risk or the likelihood. So it will go back dun sa risk and benefit analysis na dapat nating kinokonduct. Next, in the competencies in the use of tests. So in our course, ang cover lang natin ay yung level A tests. Okay? Ito lang yung cover natin. So level A tests are those that can be administered, scored, and interpreted by responsible non-psychologists who have carefully read the test manual and are familiar with overall purpose of testing. Okay? So, these are tests na very structured in nature. And dapat familiar din kayo dun sa nakasulat sa manual because you have to follow the procedure because a test is a standardized procedure. Sa level B naman, ito yung mga pwedeng nakapag-masteral na, no? So, pwede na dito pumasok yung mga projective tests, such as yung mga sentence completion tests, thematic apperception tests. Pero yung level C test, it mostly requires advanced training. So, pwede pumasok dito yung Rorschach ink blot test, and so on. Next is proper diagnosis. So dapat ang pagpili natin ng test ay very tactical, which could answer our referral question or the reason for referral. And hindi tayo basta-basta nagja-jump into conclusions. So again, pagbabangga-bagain natin yung evidence in order to come up with a proper diagnosis. And hindi basta-basta ang pagdadiagnose. So here are the bases for assessment. So first, we have the expert opinions that we provide through our recommendations. So sa kada report, pwedeng magkaroon din ng room for further psychological evaluation. Next, we provide expert opinions regarding the psychological characteristics of a person only after employing adequate assessment procedures. And in instances where we are asked to provide about opinions, no? So again, i-discuss lang natin na, ma'am, sir, luma na po. Baka pwedeng mag-undergo na po uli ng psychological assessment si client or kayo po mismo. Okay? So usually kahit lang, at least 1 year, okay na. Mag-undergo uli ng psychological assessment. Also, remember that even though we are moving towards the use of technology sa ating practice, so dapat siguraduhin din natin na kung sino man ang mag-a-administer ay siyang dapat na qualified to administer. When it comes to the interpretation of assessment results, hindi lang natin pinagbabangga-bangga yung ating nakalap na ebidensya, kundi dapat may konsiderasyon din tayo sa katangian ng ating mga clients. May it be their gender, the situation kung saan sila tinest, even their culture. So again, may pagkakaiba tayo and may pagkakatulad-tulad din tayo sa isa't isa. Okay, so now let's proceed to the moral issues. So una, human rights. So the principle of autonomy is basically stating that we should not coerce any clients in taking the test. So kung ayaw na nila, pigilan na. Wag na. Wag na tayo mag-insist. Okay? Also, sa informed consent, dapat sinisiguro natin na yung nature and purpose ng lahat ng aspeto ng ating assessment or the assessment process as a whole, yan, stated dapat siya in a manner that is very explicit. So, detalyado. So, have you seen my feedback do sa informed consent na assignment nyo? Sino may questions regarding sa feedback na binigay ko do sa assessment or yung sa informed consent na assignment? Are there questions? You can type your questions on the chat box if sa tingin yung mahina ang net nyo. So, in practice, mahalaga na pinapasadahan natin yung ating mga clients regarding the informed consent for the assessment procedure. Okay, so take note, iba ang informed consent for research purposes, iba ang informed consent for psychotherapy, and iba din ang informed consent for the assessment process. So here are instances na okay lang na walang informed consent. Una, mandated by law or even a judge. Kasi meron talaga mga judge na nag-order na mag-undergo talaga yung defendant ng psychological assessment. Next is kapag routinary activity. So sa mga guidance offices, ayan, pwede silang mag-ikot-ikot. Tapos, pasukin yung classroom yun and mag-undergo kayo ng psychological assessment. And lastly is the evaluation of decisional capacity. So related din to dun sa mandato ni judge na mag-undergo si client ng psychological assessment. So here is an example of an informed consent, no? So dapat talaga it is written as explicitly as possible. So the nature of assessment, sabihin natin na this will include behavioral observations, interviews, and a battery of tests na mapa-projective or mapa-structured. Next, the length of assessment. It is safe to say na at least 1 hour. Pero state din natin na depende din ang length ng assessment sa pace nila sa pagsagot. So meron kasi talaga clients na mababagal and meron naman na sobrang bilis. Tapos pwede rin yung mga follow-up interviews. Like if may questions kayo, tanungin niyo lang si client. Kasama rin yun sa assessment process. Next, sa fees. So dapat kayo na magkasundo. Presyong pangmasa sana. Next, the limits of confidentiality. So it is important to address itong confidentiality clause na ito na as much as possible, lahat ng mga kalap niyong information sa inyong mga clients ay mananatiling confidential, pero may limits din ang confidentiality such as number 1, risk of harm towards oneself or other people around them. Second is kapag may mandato ng korte or order ni judge na i-release yung kanilang psychological profile. And lastly is kapag nag-sign na sila ng waiver na nagsasaad na they are willing to disclose their psychological profile. So, importante rin yung side effects clause, no? Because during the course of the assessment, kasama rin dito yung interview. And during the interview, pwedeng magkaroon ng moment na binabalik-balikan nila yung mga traumatic events nila, ayan. And as a result, they will be in distress and may iyak sila. No? So, i-communicate lang natin yun na maayos and goods tayo. Because it is really important, no, that we establish the rapport. No, kung babalikan niyo yung diniscuss natin nung first week na tayo as the assessor, we are key to the assessment process. So dito sa signature, ayan, usually ang practice dito is sinasabi na lang din, no, na clinic witness as opposed to psychometricians sa psychologist, clinic witness ni signature over name. Tapos ito client's signature over name, and pwede natin dito ilagay din ay yung client's legal guardian signature over name, because not all the time our clients are legally capable of giving their consent. So any questions regarding the informed consent? So also bear in mind that the informed consent document is a legal document. So hindi lang natin siya basta-basta pinapirma. So explain din natin and make sure na wala tayong butas sa batas. So next, human rights issue is the release of test data. So again, importante na nag-sign ang ating mga clients ng waiver. Kung willing silang i-disclose iyon para sa iba or on behalf of them. No? So assure that the data will not be misused by the person to whom we are releasing the data for. So pwede rin natin pakiusapan yung representative nila na wag pong gamitin ito sa masamang paraan. Okay? So again, as practitioners, we have the responsibility to uphold human rights. So the right to privacy specifically. Next, labeling. So labels can actually be extremely damaging. So, for example, dito, AIDS. Sabihin natin, may AIDS ka. Siyempre, nakaka-damage yun ng psychologically speaking din, di ba? So, as much as possible, we should provide labels that are the least stigmatizing ones. So, natatandaan niyo pa yung sa history nung psychological assessment, si Henry Goddard, no? He was using terms like idiot, moron, retard. Yan. So, hindi na natin yung ginagamit yung mga terms na pinauso niya, no? Kundi we move forward with a least stigmatizing term na intellectually disabled. Okay? So here we have the invasion of privacy. Ayan, so talagang importante rin na pinapaalam natin sa ating mga clients yung instances during which confidentiality can be broken. No? So lagi natin itong i-elaborate. So una, risk of harm towards oneself or another. So meaning, pwedeng suicidal si client or pwedeng homicidal si client. Second is kapag may mandato ng korte. And lastly, kapag may pinirmahan ng waiver si client na willing siyang mag-disclose ng kanyang psychological profile sa iba. So, doon natin laging i-emphasize yung limits ng confidentiality clause. Next, divided loyalties. So there will be moments in our practice where will be torn, no, between the welfare of the client or the institution. So pwedeng kaharapin ito ng mga gustong mag-practice sa clinics tapos may client kayong company, no? So pwedeng sabihin natin na out of your leniency or kindness, gusto mong um, bigyan na favorable feedback or assessment si client or present client in a good light. Pero at the same time, kanino ba? Para ba sa client in order for him or her to have a job or para do sa company mismo na client mo? So, there will be moments na talagang challenge tayo nitong divided loyalties. And as much as possible, try to be as objective as possible in coming up with the proper conclusions. And also responsibilities of test users and constructors. So even the best test can actually be misused, no? So balikan uli natin yung sa history, si Henry Goddard, he used the assessment, no, to discriminate those who are feeble-minded. Yung mga aangat-angat, no? So, dapat ginagamit natin ang mga assessment tools to help improve human condition. So now let's proceed to the social issues. So first, the humanization, no? So it is actually important to weigh in against the benefits of modern day applications of testing. So dito, dapat we should emphasize individual freedom and uniqueness. Okay? So as long as the benefits outweigh the risks, it becomes socially acceptable. So we can potentially look at the mores, no? Or yung commonly accepted standards within a society. Next, the usefulness of tests, no? So while tests actually benefit society, no, it is again important to consider the risks and benefits still. And sa ngayon, nag-e-expand pa rin naman yung practice of psychological testing and assessment. May mga nag-e-emerge pa din na iba't ibang tests. Okay? So one of the benefits of testing and assessment is the increase in the precision and fairness in making decisions. So again, sa nakabubuting paraan lang din talaga natin gamitin ang knowledge natin about testing and assessment. So dapat may re-resolve tayong problem. So again, may contribution dapat tayo sa society as a whole. Next, access to psychological testing services. So sa ating country, I think parang middle income earners at least yung pwede maka-access sa psychological testing services. So expensive test batteries can only be available to those who can afford them or at least have an insurance to cover. So as much as possible, we should still have the sense na may duty tayo towards other people and makakatulong pa rin yun, no? So rules and regulations may actually also influence because free psychological evaluations can only be applied to those who are qualified under law. So dito sa ating country, pwede natin sabihin dito na limitado lang din yung pwedeng makuha ng ganitong assessment. Kasi merong batas na nagsasabi na sila dapat ay makinabang in order for them to be intervened. No? May it be cases such as violence against women and children, no? If meron man. Tapos, yun din. Kapag may mandato ang judge na i-assess yung defendant. So, hopefully, marami pa rin na makinabang, hindi lang sa forensic settings. So here's the procedure in solving ethical issues. So first, identify the problem or dilemma. Okay? So identify muna natin yung mismong problem. Within a problem, ano ba specifically? Second, identify the potential issues involved. So maraming issues. Pwedeng sabihin natin confidentiality at one hand. Tapos on the other hand, obsolete test. So again, in a single dilemma, maraming pwedeng issues na pwedeng lumabas. Next, review the relevant ethical guidelines. So ano ba yung sinasabi ng natin? Ng Psychological Association of the Philippines or the American Psychological Association? Balikan natin. Also, may binabangga ba tayong batas? So, kunwari, ang challenge mo, ay issue on confidentiality. Tapos, alamin mo, ito yung mga batas na applicable. Let's say, Data Privacy Act. So, dapat familiar din tayo sa mga batas din natin. Number 5, obtain consultation. So, mapakulig man yan or supervisor or kakilala mong abogado. Just obtain consultation, no? Because they can still provide you with the feedback that you need to keep you in check and be protected against a malpractice lawsuit. Next, consider the possible and probable courses of action. So, dito, ilista mo na ito yung pwedeng maging risk and ito yung pwedeng maging benefit pag ito ginawa mo. So, kasama na rin dun yung consequences of various decisions. And 8, responsibility na natin ay yung to choose the best course of action. Alin ba yung makakabuti? Alin ba yung makakapagpa-reduce nung risks behind our problem or dilemma? So any questions regarding the issues and the ethical standards in psychological assessment? Okay, seems none. Ayan. So now, please please copy the link or scan yung QR code. So idedirekta kayo nun sa inyong online seat work. So sa seat work nyo, meron tayong 6 na cases and I want you to briefly explain lang whether or not the behaviors demonstrated in our sample cases are ethical or not. Tapos, if not ethical, alin yung best course of action na dapat nilang gawin? So you may now begin.